Planet Magazine.
Also known as Dizasterpiece.
Welcome to Brutal Planet Magazine.
Welcome to Brutal Planet Magazine.
Welcome to the video. Welcome to Brutal Planet Magazine.
You're listening to Brutal Planet.
Hey, what's up, everybody? CJ Pierce here from ZZONEBOUND, and you're listening to Brutal Planet Media right here. Get yourself.
Hey, I'm Steve from Within the Ruins, and this is Brutal Planet.
Greetings, Brutal Planet. We're live with Diz from Dizasterpiece today. How you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you?
Really good, thank you, brother. I was listening to your new single, and just kind of like there's a bunch of stuff I hear in there, influence wise, that I was curious about. Definitely some Glassjaw influence that I hear.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite bands. Definitely,
Yeah.
I love Glassjaw. So
yeah.
what'd you say?
No. A lot of it's a little Deftones, a little bit of a lot of stuff from the era I grew up in. So
That's awesome that you could recognize that too. You know, I love. It's really cool when people could like right away notice definitely like what we're influenced by, but that also it's cool that like they could tell we're not. It's not exactly that. It's like a new, like an authentic kind of hybrid we're doing. You know.
yeah, man. I mean, everyone's influenced, right? Like I used to play in this band called I forget what the band was called, but we had a song called Perpetual Thievery, and the whole premise of it was just like artists are just always stealing from each other, basically.
Yeah, you gotta find, I guess, a good middle ground of like paying homage and not ripping someone off.
Sure.
You could come close, you know, you could come close to your influences. You have to do it in a way that doesn't trash them, and B, like you want them to be like, oh wow, yo, I could tell that I had an influence on this guy, and at the same time I'm not mad because he didn't rip me off, you know?
Sure.
So
I mean, like Glassjaw is a really good, I think, a case study for this, because you look at a guy like Daryl Palumbo, right, the singer for Glassjaw. He wears his influence on his sleeve. I know, like the first Glassjaw record that the Everything You Want to Know About Silence. He lists like Chino and Morrissey and like all the different vocalists, Mike Patton, like all.
does it really?
Yeah, like in the liner notes.
Because I have that album. I think I had the physical copy. I guess I never opened it, or I might have not had the original. I might have had like the Roadrunner Records re-release or something.
Yeah.
But I wish I saw that part. I would never know that if you didn't tell me that in this interview. So
Yeah, that's
dope.
what a gigantic weenie I am.
It's all right. No, that's good info, dude.
I read all that shit and retain it. People are like, "What's wrong with you? Are you autistic?"
No, first of all, everybody thinks everybody's autistic these days. People are just everybody's actually oversensitive because the world's crazy right now. One, two, music like we make music not for hip hop heads or hardcore kids specifically, but for music heads, for music nerds. I love when there's like a person studying it, like, oh, let me put my glasses on and see, like, oh, they definitely have Glassjaw, they definitely have Limp Bizkit, they definitely have Deftones. That's for you guys, for the people that want to, they want to like kind of make it like a novelty kind of museum kind of thing. I love that shit. That's why we work. You know, people could be like, oh, this is extra. This song doesn't need to be 5 minutes. You don't have to jump around so much on stage. Never mind extra. Let's go. Let's max something out and give it the most stats that it could be, like back in the 90s or the 2000s. So we want to bring that essence of like youthful, just doing it because we want to be energetic and doing it. You know what I mean? So it's cool you notice that shit.
I love it, man. I mean, I come from like the hardcore punk metal world, like, and I think the era that we probably you're probably close to my age, but or at least within the same realm, like same
Yeah, closer, yeah,
but
closer
like,
than not.
Yeah, the world we came up in, I mean, the last 20, 30 years, everything's kind of like come together in so many ways. I feel like
Yeah,
it was the iPod that started it. I feel like it started in the 90s, really. You know,
I miss the iPod days so much. I miss downloading music. I miss just having something I could scroll through and like show off the artists that I have instead of everything being on one piece and one phone. kids used to care so much more about music because the iPod, you're gonna love this, but the iPod era correlated with the MySpace era. I would just go find some random screamo band on purevolume.com or something, be like, this is my new favorite band, download the shitty demo and then put it right on my iPod and show some kid in the hallway, like, I found this new band, I downloaded it, and it was amazing. That whole era was amazing.
I'm with that, man, because I'm probably a little bit older in that I started with CDs, but during the MySpace, file sharing era, Napster, whatever, like I had hard drives full of like music that I'd collected and shit, and I would curate. Now it's easy to do with Spotify and Apple. You can just go pick your songs. But
I remember I was a little kid once, and this older kid, I was like, "Oh, what's that?" He's like, "Oh, it's an MP3 player. It's not a Walkman." I'm like, "What's an MP3? What's an MP3 player?" And you know what, dude? What was else I was gonna say about iPods? That whole era. I don't know. Like, people just cared so much more about. Oh, this wasn't gonna say, because you talked about things coming together now. Because some of the Gen Z kids, they're hip to a lot of things you wouldn't expect, like the things that you might want to slam them for. They're getting with it. Apparently, Google and my guitarist Scotty the Shredder, he said, he's from Richmond, Virginia. Shout out Scotty. He said that Google Analytics said that new metal is actually bigger than it was when it came out.
I believe that.
And he also backed that up with that GQ magazine, like as in like the mainstream men's fashion magazine, had new metal Y2K fashion on the front, and on the cover it was talking about how new metal fashion is like back in style, and all these kids like will go play Richmond, and all these 22-year-old kids are all in trip pants, and they all had digital cameras with them, just cause like
old school
2004 Sweet 16 camera. Like,
that's hilarious.
Like, yeah, so they take all the photos and shit. They take selfies on these old early 2000s digital cameras. So they so badly, like, how I wish like I could have experienced the end of the 80s and the early 90s, not just like the end of the 90s. They wish they were around for 2001, 2, 3, 4. So in a way, there's not a better time for us to make music like this, where the older heads, they miss it. They miss like the real essence of it, and the younger heads are like, "Oh, I wish we were there for it," right?
Yeah. And the iPod also fostered that was the point when you could have like 1,000 songs in one place. So like people, when I was younger, it was like you're into metal, you're into country, or you're into rap, and you have your own little clique. And I feel like the iPod kind of fostered this era of like all in together. Like I like rap, country, metal, R&B, pop, whatever.
They did, because people just wanted to show off how many artists they had in their shit. So I remember like, oh, I'm just gonna have like okay, like if I met a chick in the hall at school, and she's like, "What do you listen to?" She didn't know anything that's heavy, but she knew Fall Out Boy. She knew like Taking Back Sunday. That was good enough. Yeah. I'd be scrolling through her shit trying to find something. The only thing I liked was Taking Back Sunday. So I'm like, yo, for me, I'm just gonna put so much shit on here that anybody that I hang out with, they have something. They'll be like, how do you have The Locust and grindcore music, Dillinger Escape Plan, and you have Biggie Smalls and some of this random techno, like just shit like techno that I wouldn't even listen to, but some kid put it on my computer and it was like on my iPod. So maybe you're right. That's where it all started winding up in the same spot. Because of that bit, like Bamboozle Fest in New Jersey, they had Snoop Dogg headlining one year. It was like Snoop Dogg, and it's the only time you see a Snoop Dogg show where you had all these comb overs, like everybody had straightened scene hair, because earlier it was like the Blood Brothers and the Chariot, and I Set My Friends on Fire played. I remember Suicide Silence played. Wow. It's a whole mix. The Bled. It's like a whole mix of like hardcore.
All bands I love. The Blood Brothers, the band I almost forgot about. Wow.
Yeah, Blood Brothers were crazy, bro. I missed that band. They broke up. They never played that day. They broke up. Right. I had tickets. I was like a sophomore in high school. I'd seen them once in New Jersey when I was from First to Last and Poison the Well.
Are you
really
from
crazy? Yeah. What? So there was a show I saw them play. It was in Elizabeth, New Jersey. Yeah, and it was like Poison the Well, the Blood Brothers,
Poison
from
the
First to
Well, man.
Last, from Autumn to Ashes. So I didn't really know the Blood Brothers that time. So sophomore year, I buy tickets to go see them at like Giant Stadium, Meadowlands, and they never showed up. They broke up.
Oh, that's
So
terrible.
that was the end of it. Yeah, but anyway, Blood Brothers were crazy.
Yeah, you mentioned the new metal thing too. We did a
Yeah.
piece a while back about a New York Times article about new metal, so it's definitely like on the up
Oh,
and
that's
up.
right. I saw that too. There was a New
Yeah.
York Times article. So I mean, anybody that says nah, it's okay. So me and my agent, we were on the phone with this someone who's sometimes our manager. Sometimes we're trying to figure out book a tour, and he's trying to say nah. It's a flattering point, but no, Dizasterpiece should stay as a hip hop artist. You sing good, but you're dope at rapping. We want to push you as a rapper. There was a time where that was how I wanted it too.
Mhm.
We want to push you as because you could get bigger, you can make more money in hip hop, which I'm not leaving the hip hop world, but I want to be a band now. My passion is in singing and playing guitar. So he's like, well, hip hop, this, that. My agent goes, nah, new metal. He shuts her down like new metal. Like anybody who goes to those shows is just 40-year-olds trying to relive their high school era. He's like, I disagree. I think that new metal
Like that one.
has all this new audience. And I didn't even think about the New York Times thing where like it's big, the young, the old, the middle. There's you do it if you
Bro,
want to play new metal.
bro.
Now's the time.
There are clubs in LA that have new metal nights.
That's what I'm saying. There's just DJs that be spinning Linkin Park.
Corn.
Sometimes it's the basics. It's like in the end,
Yeah.
one step close, like Limp Bizkit rolling. It's nice when they actually play some.
No, these guys are
But-
good. It's crazy too. You mentioned From First to Last. That's
Yeah.
that's Skrillex's old band.
Yeah, people don't know. I wish more people knew that. Because
Yeah.
Skrillex is cool. I appreciate the concept of Skrillex, but From First to Last is still one of my favorite bands. Sonny, the
Oh,
first
man.
record.
He did some shit when he went electronic where he
Yeah.
sang on it that is
Yeah.
fucking so killer too. Like he has a pretty badass voice, but that's a whole other conversation, like EDM and like dubstep and that whole
Bro, they were
world.
booing him because he was 17. His voice was cracking still. And also, they were like the most seen looking band. But I don't
Yeah.
know. Some of the other bands were emo. Okay, well, people were there for Unearth. And there was this
I
band
love
called
Unearth,
Folly.
too.
You love Unearth? So
Yeah.
that was the first show I ever danced at. Okay, I was 13. And it was a fest. It was a very random show to be at as your first any core related. Like I've been to like a punk show or a metal show, but this is like post-hardcore, metalcore. So
Yeah,
I'm there, and I knew Poison the Well. I knew From Autumn to Ashes.
Another
Andrew
great
WK was randomly headlining. I don't know why. It was a random show.
band. Andrew
And
WK. Holy
I
shit.
I danced. I tried to dance for Folly. They were this ska-core band from New Jersey. They're like straight up. Look them up after this. Folly.
Folly.
Folly. But they're just breakdowns and hardcore
Oh,
with like ska
bro.
parts.
Dillinger is from New Jersey, so
Yeah, so they were friends with Dillinger. So Folly, they're crazy. The singer like
quick
became
aside,
like an English
actually,
teacher.
have you ever heard of Jersey Band? There was this band
No.
from Jersey Band that was like a jazz metal thing back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, sorry.
No, dude, it's cool. I gotta check them out too. Anything jazz, anything that's like hybrids of genres, I put so weird analogy. I put fruit on my sushi, like I put strawberry and I like sushi. But anything that seems like it doesn't go, like fruit in sushi, I'll do. Or like putting figs and jelly on an Italian sandwich. So if it's jazz and heavy, like Canderia, I'm all
I was
about
just
it.
gonna. Oh, I'm so
You read my
fucking
mind.
glad you read my fucking mind.
Yeah, dude.
That's actually how I heard about Jersey Band, because back in that era, I was like one of those internet nerds, and I was on the Canderia forum, and their drummer and bass player and guitarist used to post on there a lot. And Kenneth Shock, the drummer, that guy's a fucking legend. But
You're
he turned
crazy.
me on to a bunch of killer music just through that forum, because he would post and interact with the fans on their forum.
Yeah. I feel like they could have been way bigger. I feel like they're
Oh,
underappreciated.
man. It's
I
that
don't know
band.
why.
I saw them with Vision of Disorder.
Sick band.
Yeah, another East Coast hardcore was like my shit when I was in the like late 90s, early 2000s for sure. Like
That's dope.
VOD, like you're wearing a Madball shirt I saw,
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah, yeah.
H2O, all those fucking bands, dude. Like Earth Crisis is like fucking. Anyway,
So it's funny. Do you know Freya? That's the new Call from Earth Crisis. That's his new band. We're kind
I
of
haven't listened to much of their shit, man. I need to listen. I need to check them out.
tied into some of the same people. It'd be funny. I think it would be funny for Dizasterpiece with Freya or Freya with Dizasterpiece show. I don't know if Earth Crisis still does stuff, but for me, that's I don't know anything like playing with any '90s hardcore straight edge band being like a rap metal, new metal hybrid thing is kind of like a bucket list. Like we'll take it, we'll do it. We're trying to get on. You know, the thing I love that we could play with so many different bands too, being such a mix. So it's good.
Yeah, man. There's some bands from that era too, like 25 to Life, and like some. There's like a bunch of like kind of Il Nino, and there's a bunch of like kind of hip hop infused New York hardcore. Have you ever heard of Downset?
Yeah, have actually.
They're an LA band, but like post Deftones kind of rapcore type shit too. So I was gonna ask you about your name because obviously the Slipknot song is like that's a fucking fantastic song. But like, how did you decide on that? Because I think it's fucking amazing.
So it's funny. I try to tell the story right because like people have tried to like attack me in the comments. Like music's good, but I just don't want to support some guy who rips off Slipknot and says he doesn't.
Fuck off.
I didn't say it. Yeah, people just be like, I'm like, excuse me, do you write songs? I mean, you don't get to type that you don't like. You don't even make music.
Yeah.
Like, but the thing was, okay, a few people used to come at me because I didn't say it wasn't from Slipknot. I didn't change it. What happened was, so I had Iowa. I only owned one Slipknot CD as a kid, even though I loved Wait and Bleed. Wait and Bleed I recorded with a cassette tape off of K-Rock, 92.3 K-Rock in New York. Recorded it. I've only bought one Slipknot CD, and it was Iowa. I liked every song. Left Behind was my favorite track. It still is. So, you know, sometimes you look at the song name, sometimes you don't when you're a kid, right? I forgot that song was called Dizasterpiece, okay? I forgot that it was. I love that song, though. So, years later, you know, high school ends. I was in a grindcore band, metal band. Everybody splits, leaves, goes to college, whatever. I'm like, okay, I need a solo project, but not something corny, not like acoustic guitar. What can I do? I'm like, I'm not really a rapper, but I'm good at it. All right, so if I do rap, I'm still gonna like have a metal name and pay homage or whatever. And then not even thinking about Slipknot at first, I was like, you know, Dizasterpiece is like beauty and chaos, positive outcome to a shitty situation, like Marilyn Manson, like a contrast to opposite things. So then I chose it, and then people said, and I put the Z, like paying homage to Limp Bizkit in it too. So it's a Dizasterpiece with the Z. Someone comes back around like, oh, is it because of Slipknot? I'm like, wait, what? What do you mean? They're like, the song. And I went back, I'm like, this fucking song. So I'm like, I love this song. So I got caught between saying yes and saying no when people ask me that, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Everyone, the thing is, our publication is called Brutal Planet Magazine after an Alice Cooper record. Brutal Planet is an Alice Cooper record.
Yeah.
And we were like, what are we going to call this? And then you know, my cousin the other day, we interviewed Alice Cooper's daughter, and he's like, please don't tell your dad not to sue us, you know?
Wow. What'd she say?
It was great because she's like, he goes like, he knows about you guys. Like he knows you're out there, and that made me feel good. But she's like, it's rock and roll. As long as you're not like directly stealing from him and like coming on and trying to say you're Alice Cooper and shit, he's fine with it. Like we're paying homage to him. And
that would be petty too, to shut down. Like you already made it. You know, why would you try to shut down somebody who's, you guys have a good vibe, a good aesthetic to you too. I was excited to come on here when I saw what it was.
I appreciate that, man. We love music, so we try to platform music that we like, and like sometimes we get bands that are like really big that we're like, oh shit, this is a band that we listen to. And a lot of times we get bands that are not super well known, and we want to fucking elevate those bands. So, you know.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this album. I'm excited about our new publicist. Shout out Raquel. Raquel got us this. And I think between the new songs, and we have a good booking agent and a good publicist, it's weird because we don't have a label. We're not on label. We're on my label. I had a manager, but I kind of like beat the shit out of him and left him in Utah like a year ago. So we skipped all the things that people say, oh, you don't need a label. You can do your bullshit. You need a record label. You'll never get to the good shit without the label. Somehow, by a miracle, we did it like how those corny videos on Instagram do it. Like, you don't need a label. I broke out all DIY. Somehow we have a publicist and sick interviews and a U.S. booking agent, and now we're about to get an international booking agent. Everything that a band would like completely lowball themselves with a label to get, we've accumulated. And I got to remind myself that I'm very, very proud about that, because we just transitioned from a solo 90s hip-hop style project to a band, and the album is not out yet. So we've been touring and touring, playing these new songs, the songs you like, the songs, boy, two of them are out that you heard. And for me, I got to remind myself that it's such a blessing that I'm going straight into rock world, into metal world, into post-hardcore world with a booking agent, a publicist, and interviews, as if we've been signed already, you know, and that's a blessing, you know. So it really did manifest in an interesting way, you know.
Yeah, man, it's cool too. I think like what's not lost on me is like in the rap world right now, there's not a lot of live music. It's like dudes rapping over a CD. So if you're going out there with a live band and actually rhyming into a mic live, that on its own is fucking amazing.
See, I don't want to say the wrong thing here where I alienate myself too, because I still do hip hop. But yeah, you'll get a kick out. Let me just say how I want to say it. That I had to get when someone says, "Hey, what do you do?" Because I don't really work a day job. Sometimes I'm a bouncer at a club, but I'm always on tour and we make money. I sell a lot of merch and I pay my bills with it. So I say I'm in the music industry. If someone says I meet someone, I'm in the music. I don't like saying before this era, I'm a rapper, because if I say, what do you do? I'm a rapper, they just think I'm not just some fuckboy kid with face tattoos that mumbles and fucking, they don't understand, because hip hop has strayed so far from its culture, not just from its roots, but the culture is like over here. I used to be naive, like, oh, well, with me, if I have a message and I do it like to the roots, more people will, and they did, but it's like I couldn't save it. The culture needs some fixing within itself, and I'm good at it, but I've actually lost my, like, I always rap and I'll make good songs, but like I really just want to sing and bounce and jump. Even doing this kind of shit, my stage presence is different because I could do and swing the mic. And the thing is, like, I had to completely just like kind of rebrand, because I don't even want to. I want to be a wait. What do you do? I'm in a band, you know. Just by I'm a rapper. This people who don't know hip hop, like your generic white college kid or somebody's mother somewhere, when you say rap, they just think they hear bullshit on the radio. And with me now, you knowing what kind of lyricism I do and everything, how I don't want somebody in their head who doesn't get it to associate me with that unless they know. But they might not know Wu-Tang Clan or the Beastie Boys or Action Bronson. If you want to do new people, they'll even go, they'll say Mac Miller, but I'm like, it's not, it's a little bit harder than Mac Miller, but he's cool, you know. But
Bronson is one of my favorites, man. Fucking
say what?
Bronson is the shit.
Oh, you like Action? He's good, right?
I love Action Bronson.
And he's Jewish. I'm Jewish too.
Fuck yeah.
Jewish
Man,
rappers.
Crazy. All my favorite white rappers are Jewish. The Beasties. You know Aesop Rock?
Yeah, he's Jewish?
Yeah, Aesop Rock. Not
people
Aesop Rocky.
Yeah, there you go.
Rock.
There was somebody, a few people who reviewed like the last hip hop record I did in 2021, and they'd always bring up Aesop Rock, and I would take that as such a compliment because his lyricism is crazy.
He's one of the best. So I have to ask you, because I can't ask a lot of people about this. Kendrick Lamar, Drake beef.
I don't even pay attention to that. I see it. What's with it? What do you? I don't even fill me in.
Oh my god! I live for that shit. I'm like, that's the best thing to happen in rap in years.
Why did it happen?
So it's always starts and ends with Kendrick. Like I love that guy. Like he's repping the West Coast so fucking well. Like a couple years ago, he did, and I'll go way back. Like a couple years ago, he did a verse on, I think it was Big Sean had a song called Control, and Kendrick Lamar said he was the king of New York or something. And
I remember he like shat on everybody on the song. I remember.
yeah,
that.
and so everyone
Yeah.
came out and started firing at him, and then he kind of like he's such a not public person, he just kind of like disappeared. So I guess he said something like Drake and fucking J. Cole did a song called First Person Shooter where they said it's like they're the big three, like Drake, Kendrick, and Cole. And Kendrick came back on Metro Boomin song and said, "Fuck the big three, it's just Big Me." And so that started this whole thing. And then Drake started like firing shots at Kendrick. And Kendrick fucking, I think, just won the battle. He put out this song called Not Like Us. And it's like a bop. Like everyone's fucking listened to it. And there's a line in it that, and I'll stop after this, but like there's a bar where he goes, trying to strike a chord and it might be A minor, and it's probably A minor, because he's making fun of Drake, like being with young girls.
That's from?
Yeah,
I heard that the other day. I heard that.
But here's the best part.
I get the screen right. Yeah.
A minor is a chord that has no black keys. And like the whole thing is like Kendrick's like trying to like say Drake isn't black enough and shit. So it's like a double.
It's a double diss. He's trying to say he's a pedophile and that he's not black. In one line.
Like it's like
That's
that
genius.
one line has double meaning to it. And I just thought that was so fucking cool.
Here's the thing. I admire Drake's success. I
think Drake's great too. Like I'm no disrespect to Drake either, but
I wish I could be where Drake was, but Drake is pop music and Kendrick is a rapper.
Exactly.
I mean, Kendrick is an MC. So aside from generating sales and clicks and both of their bank accounts go up, and they stay relevant, it's good for both of them. It's healthy for both of their careers. But at the same time, we all know that Kendrick Lamar murders Drake about anything, even if they weren't beefing. Like he raps and Drake makes music for girls to dance to. They drink and they dance and they take selfies. It's music for girls to take selfies to, and it's not anything else. Sorry, Drake.
No, you're so right.
But,
I said when it started, I go, at the end of the day, regardless of what you think about this, here's how it breaks down. Kendrick Lamar is a black man who grew up in Compton, and Drake is a Canadian child actor. Like it's like that's there.
I think it's kind of cool that he was on Degrassi. You know, I'm not gonna knock him more than I need to, but
I think Drake is great, man. He has a lot of great songs. Like you have to respect his hustle. He's had like the song of the summer like every year for like fucking 10 years, 20 years, you know.
Do you ever see those memes? I can't Drake that type of N-word. Yes, so it said Drake that type of who calls 911.
Like you're about to be visited by the tickle monster or something like that.
It said Drake that type of who calls 911 and asks them if they need help. Or he said Drake that type of who said cha 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 during Happy Birthday as a kid. Yo, but he's cool. He's respect to him because I would love to have his life. You know, I would love to have his life.
Again, I can't knock the hustle at all.
He's a genius marketer. He's a genius marketer and businessman, and I aspire to be as good with my business as he is.
What really like solidified it for me with Drake is Vice used to have this show called it was like Noisy or whatever, but it would be like Legend on Legend, and they had Snoop and ASAP Rocky talking, and they were talking about like who's the best in the game, and this was like 5 or 6 years ago, and they're both like Drake. And then ASAP Rocky told this story about how like he's like, yeah, we'll be out on tour and like we'll be all hanging out after the show, and these guys will try to follow me back to my room, and I'll be like, get the fuck out of here. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're not coming back to our room. And he's like, but when we're on tour with Drake, it's like all women. And he's like, it's like all girls. Like,
what made it guys for their shows? I don't understand that part.
I don't know, because it's like
his fans, like obsessed fans,
the ASAP mob type shit. The dudes that are just like,
it's fucking goon. It's goons following, trying to or Klingons that are trying to be part of the goons squad. We get we're not even big yet. We get weirdos that try to follow us. It's I can imagine that if you're an arena selling artists, the amount of weirdos, like every night we get like a few weirdos, and like it's cool. I'm not gonna knock anybody who comes and buys merch keeps us alive, and that there's always somebody who's like a little extra obsessive
Yeah.
It's like, oh, let me come on tour with you, blah blah blah. I can't imagine if you're a multi-million-dollar making artist that plays arenas, how many weirdo stalkers kind of people you get. But Drake, yeah, he gets all the ladies. People can't forget that. He does the pretty boy shit. They're in love with him. So double power to him, you know.
Yeah, you can't knock it. You like,
But I'd like to see Drake front a hardcore band. He should be like the reverse of Skrillex. He should go, Drake should do something. I think what you think he likes metal?
I don't know. I know Kanye does. We did a piece yesterday about Ed Sheeran is doing a song with Cradle of Filth.
What the fuck?
I know.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah. I'm like, it was an interesting article too, because Danny Filth was like, yo, like I saw Ed Sheeran in some interview and he said how he grew up listening to Slipknot and Cradle. And his like manager reached out and we're like, fuck yeah, let's do it. He's like, I thought it was cool what Danny Filth said too. He's like, we're the kind of band that like we're always gonna do. If someone tells us not to do something, that's what we're gonna do. Like, of course we're gonna do it.
That's how you keep it punk, right?
I love it. Yeah.
You notice the rise in top 40 artists in the last 8 years that like met, like always met, everybody always knew Demi Lovato. She likes Job for a Cowboy, or she liked, you know, she was into like she liked Dance Gavin Dance. They're not that metal, but she's likes metal affiliated, hardcore affiliated, post-hardcore bands. But even Post Malone, like he tried out, I think, for Crown the Empire. You know, really? Post Malone, he was hanging out with Dizasterpiece. Do you know that? You know the hardcore band Dizasterpiece from Philly?
Yeah.
He gave them Dizasterpiece is like a big hardcore band. They popped. They were local in Philly. You know, okay, so they popped up, but they do huge. They tour with Ghostmane now. So they met Post Malone, and he gave them this Louis Vuitton guitar, and like they taught him how to shotgun beers. I guess he didn't know or something. But those were even those, like when I was still like busting my ass selling tickets for a local show. It was those things that inspired me because, like, I always wanted to be big, but I didn't want to make bullshit music. In the 90s and the early 2000s, there was always a way to be on the radio and not be completely bullshit. The first song I ever remember on as a little kid, when my father playing music on the radio in the car, was Smashing Pumpkins. What's the song? Despite all my rage. Like,
oh yeah, Zero.
Look,
or wait,
no, not Zero, but Bullet with Butterfly
Wings. Yeah.
So that song has screaming in it. That song is sick, and that was all over the radio. It Smells Like Teen Spirit was all over the radio. Biggie, Smalls, was all over. Blink-182, maybe all the small things is corny, but the Blink-182 changed the whole wave of youth because they didn't know anything about punk. Blink-182 was the first guys I saw with gauged ears, and I'm like, what is that? And my friend's like, oh, my brother has those. You have to stretch your earlobe for that. What that does is that opens up a gateway to subculture. So I was always inspired when somebody either comes from punk or they make music that's like not really punk, but after they left the scene that you can tell it's kind of adjacent. And that kind of went away after the iPod era, the MySpace era. When that died, it just went back to pop because MTV shut and it was just reality TV, Fabulous Life, and Top 40. And once you started seeing like the Post Malones and the Ed Sheerans, the Demi Lovatos, and like, oh yeah, but I like metal too. And they're so pushed in pop culture and Top 40. I started thinking like, yo, maybe one day I could get on and keep it punk a little bit, but do it to an audience. And maybe we could bring it back to like 2000 where like all these people that you wouldn't expect are at a show. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
They inspire me like that.
You know the band Head PE?
Yeah, we played with them recently.
Yeah, like that's one of the bands from that era. Like their first couple records, I think, are so good, and they're different too. Like they tried different shit. Like they kind of started out as kind of like a Limp Bizkit Korn type thing, and then they kind of went in a different direction, almost like doing these like groovy, like more melodic, like hooky type songs. And you brought up Blink-182. That's like Green Day, The Offspring, Rancid. Like those are bands that I forgot about from the 90s because there was so much good like popular metal like Metallica and like heavier shit like Nirvana, and then rap like Biggie, like you mentioned Biggie and like Jay-Z.
It was easily accessible. Like think about like, okay, like a kid who doesn't know what a hardcore show is. He doesn't know what you think. He doesn't know the difference between drop A, tune and drop B, whatever. He just wants to like make his hair look crazy and listen to something crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You get Blink-182, you get even Eminem would bring you into, because Eminem had Limp Bizkit next to it, and Limp Bizkit had Korn next to it, and Korn had what's the other band? Cold Chamber. You know, there's like one led to the other. So a band like Blink-182 would lead to like Sum 41, or would lead to Green Day. And eventually there'd be some older kid, you're gonna laugh, there'd be some older kid on a skateboard that's like, that shit is poser shit. You don't want that. You want Rancid, you want No Effects, you want Bad Religion. And then eventually, like, and Screamo came around, like Thursday and Finch and Census Fail, and you're like, oh, no, I want this shit. And then some kid with a shaved head was like, nah, you want hardcore. And you're like, what's hardcore? You're like, this is what you want. And it was upgraded in waves. So all you had to do was actually get into Blink-182 or Green Day, and you'd eventually wind up at Warped Tour and at Hellfest.
Yeah.
And at Sounds of the Underground Tour. So there's a gap.
Warped Tour does not get enough respect either, because like back in those days there was Ozzy, but like Warped Tour had like put bands like The Used and Glassjaw next to like the Black Dahlia Murder.
Yeah.
Fucking
I love that. I love that they, like, I found new bands at Warped Tour. Like, check this out. Parkway Drive, specifically, I remember. When people didn't know who they were. Some people did. But, okay, so As I Lay, this is like when As I Lay Dying was in their prime. So it must have been like the album with Forever and whatever it is. The big album was out, and I think they were getting ready to put this, or their second album came out, and they just finished that Warped Tour. The crowd was huge. Remember, I was petrified. There were dudes, massive dudes with bandanas over their face, just fucking crowd killing everybody. I did not go in the pit. Their set ends. Everybody starts walking away from the stage, you know, whatever. The next heavy band wasn't on for like another 2 hours, kill time, because it's scattered. All of a sudden, there's this tiny little stage we didn't see because it was so packed. What the fuck is up with Parkway Drive from Australia? And everybody stops walking away and turns around and comes back and just moves over like 20 feet here to this stage. And they took the whole As I Lie Dying audience that was walking away. And then me and my friends in school, I think that was like freshman year of high school or 8th grade, they're like, don't you remember Parkway Drive? That was the band we saw, like telling everybody, always talking about Parkway Drive. That's genius. That's how you put a band on. You want to say, oh, we don't have money for a record deal, we can't really this or that. Put a band on next to a giant audience, like put more bands that have no name next to or adjacent with bands that are blown up, and that's how you get their attention. There needs to be more fests like that, like Ozfest or Warped Tour, because they don't exist, right? So I wish.
I feel like it's coming back though, man. Now you got Sick New World, and
that shit seems sick.
Knotfest and like Coachella even, I think, does a pretty good job of like blending some indie artists with like some really big names.
They do. They had Turnstile play at Coachella.
Yeah. Fucking
I would love to play Coachella.
Knocked Loose. Do you know Knocked Loose?
Yeah, did they play Coachella or they played Bonnaroo?
I'm pretty sure they played Coachella.
The funny fucked up part about that whole thing is because I hear like EDM girls talking about, I'm going to Coachella, and it's like $3,000 for the whole thing. The ticket is expensive as it is, and then you have to book a flight. They go the whole time. And I'm like, yo, are these rich mainstream techno kids go there? But here's the thing. When Knock Loose comes on or Turnstile comes on, there's people still stage diving and doing windmills.
Yeah.
So it seems to me like there's some hardcore kids that like grew up and went to college, and like they don't really care anymore, but they're like, oh, a hardcore band's playing, I'm gonna mosh. And like they went to Coachella not giving a shit about the hardcore bands. And like, well, if there's a hardcore band, I'm gonna bring it back to 4 years ago. And there's actual fucking hardcore dancing at Coachella when these bands play. So that part is totally sick to me.
Well, I have a friend who I used to play with on the scene down here who ended up working for Golden Voice, which is like a big booking like promotion place, and he helped book Coachella years ago. And he would like text me and be like, bro, you're not going to believe who we got this year. And like one year they got like Faith No More reunited. And then the next year they got Refused reunited. Sick. And then the next year they got Rage Against the fucking Machine. I'm like, dude, you are an asshole, Leo.
This is right. For what? For what fest?
For Coachella.
They had Rage. I didn't even know about this.
This was years ago. This is what, like probably 10 years ago, you know?
Yeah.
But now it's evolved into like, you know, it's mostly like Billie Eilish and Lana Del Rey, so which I also love.
Do you?
But I do. I love like fucking Billie Eilish
Yo,
is so
Billie
talented.
Eilish posted "It Dies Today." Do you know that band? On
Yeah,
It
yeah.
Dies Today on Trust Kill Records. She randomly, like, nobody told her label, her management. One day she's just like, and that's a random band because they've been broken up.
I know who
She's just
I
like,
have one
oh,
of their I have their shit in my gym playlist.
that's crazy. I think I have their shirt over. I was wearing their shirt yesterday. Dude, what the fuck does Billie Eilish just go on fucking social media and say, oh, by the way, It Dies Today, who's been broken up forever, is sick. That's what I'm talking. That's amazing. That's amazing because
Fuck
she's
yeah.
so influential that, like, they said that their streams were at an all-time high just from Billie Eilish shouting them out. I think it's amazing that all these top 40 pop stars are paying homage to metal, and at the same time, Coachella. Because here's the thing: any hardcore kid would be like, "Fuck that, posers, sell
Yeah.
out." No, dude, you need a market, even if it's punk. Like, the more kids who don't know about it get put onto it, the more shows happen, the more people go to shows, the more money the promoter makes, the more he throws another fest, and so on and so forth. It is an industry, and it's dying because they've devalued music. You can't buy CDs. You can't buy CDs, and people aren't getting record deals. I've been waiting on people in my ear, $30,000, this, that. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, there's no people putting up money in this and that, and then promoters will say to a local band, "Yeah, you're good, but how many tickets can you sell?" You know, so there's like no way in for a new and upcoming band. So at least if mainstream culture is going to always talk about it, it puts new people on, and if at least there's new people, there's more people coming to shows, and
Yeah.
then the scene kind of stays going. I think, you know.
I do think too that the I was watching yesterday this video of Metallica playing an Elton John song at this thing in DC, and it was amazing to me. First of all, because Elton John was in the audience like clapping and shit. But when I was a kid, Metallica was like, "Ooh, that's like dark, evil music." And now,
Yeah,
like I went to a Metallica show a couple years ago, and I like behind me was like a Filipino family. You know what I mean? Like the mom, the
that's
dad,
amazing.
and I'm like, that's fucking awesome. Because when I was a kid, Metallica was like the outcast music. And so I think that, to your point, it's like the attitude of like heavy music with a heavier aesthetic, metal, harder shit, like hardcore,
Yeah,
punk,
yeah.
like extreme music is like much more acceptable in the mainstream than it used to be.
It is. People. It's weird. It's like a weird catch-22 because people want to look at it like it's dying and sales are down, but at the same time, it's really corny. That what's that show? Stranger Things. It
Yeah.
took. It's corny, but it's interesting that it took Stranger Things playing Master of Puppets to put Metallica at the highest. It said it was there at the highest streams. I always thought, like, why does it matter? Like, a TV show and this and streams, but at the same time, even if I think the way people do things with algorithms and this and that is not punk and not like the way it should be. It's interesting that how many people that would not be exposed to it are getting into it. It used to be you turn on MTV and it's Carson Daly and TRL and
Yeah.
they pacemakers and they say, okay, this is the new video, Deftones changing the House of Flies or Back to School or Corn Freak on a Leash. And then I'd be like, this is my new favorite band. And I had to like turn on TV and see if they were playing. So now it's it's easier to find it, but there's no tastemaker on prime time.
Totally.
Everybody, you know what I mean? If you like metal, you'll go to a metal influencer, but there's no guys like, hey, let me have your attention. You want to listen to this new band,
Yeah.
right? There's no music station. So if that's what it takes to have Master of Puppets on a TV show, get new people into it. I love that, you know?
Yeah, that's been a recurring thing too. You know, the show Breaking Bad, like
Yeah.
their last episode, they had this song by this band called Badfinger that was like a 70s band. And as soon as they played that episode, like it's called Baby Blue, people fucking like that song shot through the roof and shit. So that's really the new landscape is like or it's something trends on TikTok, a clip of your song trends on TikTok, or people are dancing to it or some shit, or it's in a Netflix show. That's how you like blow up in the social media era.
I know. It's it's interesting. I'm curious to see like where our journey goes from here, because I feel like
No, I didn't want to cut you out. We got like 13 minutes. I have a hard stop at noon, but I want to talk about your album before we go.
Yeah, let's do it.
So tell us about the album. Like the title's interesting, and just tell us what it's out Friday, right?
I think so. I hope so.
17th.
Yeah, the 17th. That's my lucky number 217. I was born on 17, and it's so ZONEBOUND, QRX for an Ocean. The name actually, it sounds like I mean, it's double meaning. Some people probably think it's like about getting in your zone, like bound, like highway bound, like on your way. But it's the opposite. It's actually, I wrote it like being bound to a specific zone, a location. A lot of the shit was first started being written when I was stuck in certain places and certain scenarios. I was living in Texas for a couple years. That was very, very rough. I wound up there in a rough way. I started a lot of these songs there. Then I moved back to Jersey. I was in New York City. Then I was 5 minutes outside New York City, back in Jersey, and I had this crazy fucking alcoholic manager. I was flying to Utah, living in Utah. I was coming back. I had this apartment that I was never at, paying for it while I was in Utah. I was like flying and going, and no matter what I did, or like the kids be like, yeah, kid, you're gonna be huge, you know, you're gonna be the next blah blah blah, the next Eminem meets Fred Durst or whatever. And it was real, and then it would like become like this flash illusion, and it was like just the devil or something. And I felt fucking chained. No matter what I did, no matter what, I get the illest compliments. I'd sell $500 of merch more than the headliner as the opener. Labels would be like, oh, we've never seen that, where the opener outsells all kinds of shit, and that would never change. It would never change. It gets stuck. So I felt chained. Then I got this tattoo, like of chains being broken, right? And I just tried to manifest the not being bound to a zone thing. And eventually it started, like, things started working out, and we got a booking agent when I found my actual bandmates. And then I've been on tour. I can't even count how many shows I played this year and the end of last year. I'm always on tour, and it started working and flowing, and here I am. But I had to like force it. So the line in the song ZONEBOUND, the chorus, I say, I'm thinning out the ice and melt a change because I'm so tired of being stuck in the same level one phase. Desired up, designer couldn't come up with a better thing. As it comes down now, comes down crashing. Tell me who really designs this game. So it's about like, okay, I'm in a game. This is a simulation. It goes and goes, it loops and loops. I tried everything I could to beat this level. I prayed. I asked, you couldn't fucking change it. I'm thinning out the ice, meaning I'm going to take a gamble. I don't care if I self-sabotage. I'm gonna pop off, do this, fuck up my relationships because something isn't what it's supposed to. Even if it doesn't matter what I lose or what I sabotage, because nothing moves, so something has to be knocked over anyway. So I say I'm thinning out the ice. And at the end, when I say, now tell me who really designs this game, it's about taking your confidence back. It's about breaking chains and forcing. If it's not, I tried, I prayed, I did it the good way. Now it's by force. Now it's by, we're not doing the praying. Now we're going to do fuck up everything around me till it moves. And it started moving. And then I went back to good energy. So then the QRX4 notion is kind of like this. It's kind of like, so QRX4 is kind of like imagine like an AOL dial-up, like so the QRX4 like that, and the notion is like it's like intuition. So imagine tuning a radio actually, and you're trying or breaking a lock. You're trying to find a sweet spot to pick a lock or find the channel on the radio, and like static nonsense, and the only thing leading you to the sweet spot is your intuition. So the QRX4 notion is like me, like a compass, trying to find out where the fuck I'm supposed to go in this level that never ends, where I'm bound to. And the fucked up crazy part that you should know is that the artwork, you've seen it, right? It looks like a bunch of colors and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was a photo that was accidentally in my pocket. Like, my phone took a picture in my pocket. Okay, it was nothing. It was a photo of nothing. It got creepy because I looked into it and there was so much I saw in this fucking photo. It looked like Texas. It looked like an angel with wings. Harring, Texas, which is weird the way I wound up in Texas. Like I was like picked up and moved in this simulation or whatever, the powers that be, God, whatever, the universe. And so it just looks like something with wings, Harring, Texas, or something carrying you to Texas. And in the back, it looks like there's this barn and a smiley face. And the thing was like, I'm like, okay, let me pop this into an app and edit color into it. And once I put the color in and I have the red and the blue, I'm like, this is crazy. My brother, I had the name and the title at the top. My brother was like, yo, put it at the bottom, put it all the way to the bottom on the right. Because he said this out, whatever this is that you took in your pocket has a crazy aura to it. People need to see this. Put all the words tiny on the side. So we kept it, and it was accidentally taken in my pocket, and it had like the theme, like it was stuck in Texas. It was like fucked up. So
That's super cool.
yeah.
I think a lot of people can relate to the sentiment of being zone bound too after the whole COVID thing.
Yeah, it's about COVID too. There's songs about COVID. We're split into zones, whether it's like because of the government, because of being sick, or because life just won't let you move to the next chapter yet. Sometimes I see the reason. Sometimes we all understand why that thing we wanted, that we're praying for, it just didn't happen. The person you wanted to date, the promotion you wanted, the car you want, anything. You'd be like, oh, I understand why younger me didn't get it. I resented you, God, but now I get it. But there's certain things where I just like when you're playing a video game. I'm not a big gamer, but I played enough. I did everything. I like wish they didn't make this RPG so intricate. I can't see the next part I have to go to. I can't see the door. The lighting's too dark in this game. And I've circled around this level over and over and over again. And I'm online trying to figure out how the fuck I'm about to just take the game back to fucking the store and return it. That's how I fucking felt around when I was like really halfway through this record. So
did you ever see that show Quantum Leap?
What's up?
Did you ever see the TV show called Quantum Leap?
No, it sounds familiar though.
So the whole premise of it is this guy, he quantum leaps into different like periods of history, and he has to do something before he leaps again. So he has this guy who's like called Al, but it's the same basics. He's like, I thought I did what I needed to do. Like, why haven't we leapt yet to the next thing, you know?
That's crazy that you thought that's exactly what that is. That's exactly what that title is. And you know what I mean? Like it's deep. It's a deep album. It's like I can tell that by finishing this album and putting it out, it's the end. It's the end of something that I closed. It's almost as if the universe said, no, write it. Once you write it and you get it and you finish it and put it out, then we'll let you go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it went, and now it's finished and it's moving.
Yeah.
It's almost as if I was forced to endure it. There's a lot of emotion in that record.
As
you know what I mean? So
like an artistic brain myself, it's like sometimes you get this tunnel vision and it's almost like, no, this has to be complete before I can do anything else.
In a weird way, that source energy or God or spirit guides or just the universe, whatever you believe, like in a way, like I don't draw, but I wish I could draw. I'm involved, all the artwork for Dizasterpiece I do, but it's me like on my laptop or like with someone else or something. I design my merch. So my point is, I'm an artist in the sense of the lyrics, the concepts, the guitar parts. I write the guitar parts. This whole album is mostly me playing guitar and bass. My brother plays drums, but I play drums. My point is that like when we're driven, like whether you're a painter or you do graffiti, or you like, you know, you're an architect or you're a drummer or a rapper or whatever, if that's God or the universe or your destiny or your ancestors driving you to do so. You were born into, or I just want to say how I believe, born into, I do this because that's what calls me. I sing, I rap, I play guitar because that's what my spirit wants to do, because that's what my spirit was chosen to do, or I chose to do it on the way into this world. So in a way, if it won't move until we do our ideas, like you won't, you know, until I finish this project, it won't. Maybe that's actually how it goes. Maybe you have to finish it because you're supposed to create, and they want you to create before they allow you forwards. And this was a bit. This whole thing, let me tell you, I'm so happy this shit sounds good and is coming out because it was rough. And I'm always gonna remember. I know this album will do well, but I'm always gonna look back in this period of my life and just remember what I was feeling when I made this shit. You know, it was like 2 years in the making. It's it was actually like 10 or 11 tracks, but they got cut. So it's eight songs. Then we'll put out the other songs later on once we spin this.
Dope. 8's a good number, and it's on 1/7, so the infinite.
That's right. And 8 also means abundance.
Right.
And currency and infinity. Yeah. So, we got to talk more sometime in real life about some shit.
Definitely. Man. Well, do you guys have any shows or anything else you want to shout out before we cut out?
Yeah, we're going on tour with the Backstreet Boys and Trapped. I'm just joking.
That would be
yeah, we'll play with whoever, but we are going to be we have a tour, ZONEBOUND Part 2 tour coming up, and it's gonna be with the Bunny the Bear. They were on Victory Records. They're like kind of like I Set My Friends on Fire, like electrocore. So we just got home from a tour, so even though the album's coming out, it just doesn't make sense. We go back out August. We're gonna do August 3rd to August 31st for a month. We're gonna do, I forgot, it's like starts in, we do a festival. Vortex Rock Fest. August 3rd, we start Vortex Rock Fest in upstate New York. And then we go down, we do 2 Ohio dates, and then it goes to like Nebraska, Kansas. After that, the Bunny the Bear splits off. And it's still the ZONEBOUND tour, but it's gonna be a separate piece. We go to the West Coast, we make our way. We have a bunch of Cali dates. We're gonna do like 2 to 4 Cali dates, probably like at least 3. 2 are confirmed. We have some more coming, and then everywhere else that we've wanted to play that we didn't, that's there, like Seattle and Portland. We really want to play Portland. Every band dude wants to play Seattle because of Kurt Cobain and Alice in Chains and Soundgarden. So that if our agent isn't hyped, we as a band, we're like, oh, we get to finally go play Seattle. So that's gonna be cool. Probably like Arizona, or I don't know if New Mexico was on there, but it's gonna be for a month. So for the 1 week is with the Bunny the Bear, and they split, and then we do the rest of the month out west. And I've been waiting for a Dizasterpiece West Coast tour like that too. So that's gonna be sick. And then we come home, we just probably record new music, do another video. Yeah.
I hope to catch you guys when you're out here. Where can people follow you guys on social media and everything?
Yeah, myspace.com/ I wish. We might get our MySpace going again just because. Dizasterpiece. Facebook.com/ Dizasterpiece, DIZASTERPIECE, and Instagram, it's just Dizasterpiece, same spelling, and we don't really use X. We will soon. Again, we don't really use TikTok. We will soon. Just Facebook and Instagram, and come to our shows. You know what I mean? Like, come talk to us. We'd love to hook you up with some merch and like take a picture and kick it. Fucking, we like interacting with our fan base. We like making them feel welcome, like it's a community, like it's your team that you could be on. So if you like us, come see us play. We put on a crazy live show and come talk to us.
Well, the album's out Friday, everybody. Man, I could talk to you all day, but we got to cut out. Thank you so much for the time, man. Please come back through and talk to me again soon.
I would love to, yo. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely appreciate it.
Come back soon.
Thank you so much, Diz. Everybody take care. Check the album out Friday, May 17th, Dizasterpiece. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Keep it brutal.